Hello, good morning. Welcome to Joy News Desk. We're coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlemle. We're on DTT because we're free to on DSTV channel 421 and Go TV channel 124. Coming up this morning, coalition of individual bondholders groups suspend planned protests to demand payment of delayed coupons and principals. And what do you make of the era of flooding and the role of climate change? We'll bring you a special conversation as we take a look at the unusual cases being recorded in the Volta region, even parts of the US and Europe. Also, we'll take you to a community in the Upper East region where over 300 pupils are using only 62 desks for the academic work. How is that possible? Stay with us for the details. We have all of these plus business coming up shortly. Do stay for details. The coalition of individual bondholders group have suspended their planned picketing at the Finance Ministry. This was disclosed by the convener, Senor Jose. The suspension follows a press statement from the Finance Ministry reassuring bondholders that it will meet all its obligations as stipulated in the Memorandum of Understanding signed on May 16 between government and the coalition. Let's take a look at that statement, and it's coming shortly on your screens. It says the government of Ghana and the coalition of individual bondholder groups, CIBG, comprising members of Individual Bondholders Forum and Individual Bondholders Association of Ghana, on 16th May 2023, reached an agreement regarding government's outstanding domestic debt service obligations. This agreement was captured in a Memorandum of Understanding dated 16th May 2023. And the source is Ministry of Finance. Per the terms of the MOU, the government undertook to pay all arrears on coupons, bonds maturing by 31st May 2023, as well as coupons falling due from 1st June 2023. The Ministry of Finance hereby announces that it has made good its promise and settled all outstanding coupons and principal payments up until 19th June 2023. Instructions have also been sent for payment of coupons falling due up until today, 10th July 2023. And the government of Ghana reassures all bondholders of continuing and constructive engagement with the leadership of CIBG, as well as government's commitment to the implementation of the terms of the MOU. And the source is Ministry of Finance. So the coalition had announced their decision to picket following their dissatisfaction with the government's lack of action concerning the payment of their coupons and principals. According to the coalition, payment of some bonds has been have been in default for over 100 days, and it has been over 50 days since the agreement captured in the MOU, with no implementation undertaken nor official communication on the way forward. My colleague James Aveji has been monitoring this for us for a while now. He joins me in the studio. Tell me about the status of the coupons and, why it has delayed.
Okay, so Aisha, first let's establish this particular group wanting to picket. So the confusion has always been, who are these bondholders? Are they the same as those who have already been to the Finance Ministry? So the coalition is actually a merge of two different groups. That is the Individual Bondholders Forum, and the individual led by Senor Jose, and then the Individual Bondholders Association of Ghana. Those two have come together to form the coalition of Individual Bondholders Association, and so that is different from the Pensioner Bondholders Association. So for them, their engagement with government, initially when this domestic debt exchange program started, where the bonds will be touched, they actually decided to engage government on the way forward, and then the pensioners decided to picket to demand for their bond. And so they started some engagement with government. Along the line, they have constituted a committee. Government has constituted a committee led by the bondholders themselves, Senor Jose, and other leaders of the group, to arrive or to design a roadmap between themselves and government, which government would use to start payment of their coupons and their principals. That was finished and handed over to government, and government signed on to that on the 16th of May, a few days shy of 2 months. And so the hope was that since this was concluded, government would have started honoring that roadmap that was designed, only for us to realize recently that government has not honored those agreements in that roadmap. And so that's exactly what happened. So as it stands, until payment have started, government owe them. Some coupons have matured over 100 days. Other principals have also matured. The same situation as the pensioner bondholders. And so that's the situation they were in before yesterday, when government said that it has started honoring those payments.
Any idea the number of people affected?
This group is a larger one than the pensioner bondholders. I'm told that the numbers run into the thousands, but the specific numbers, I'm sure the convener would be able to tell us about that. But probably they are members of bondholders, individual bondholders across the country. And so you can imagine what the numbers, I'm told they are in the thousands. But as for the specific number, I'm sure Senor would help us with that.
Well, the bondholders who entrusted their savings to government expressed their frustration with the situation, describing the government's conduct as condescending, insensitive, and disrespectful to its own citizens. Senor Jose is convener of the Coalition of Individual Bondholders groups. He joins us via Zoom with more. I'm grateful for your time, Senor. Tell us more about this suspension and government's assurance.
Yeah, good morning, Aisha. As you well are aware, we're scheduled for a major picketing or social action this morning. For us, we're intent on really overwhelming the entire Ministry of Finance space, which is responsible for the non-payment of the bonds due. The thousands of members that we have over 340,000 members as of date. There are so many lives at stake, so many lives affected, and it's responsible on the part of policy operatives to really promote and protect the interests of these people whose only crime so far has been to trust their government. An act that we found totally unacceptable, especially when we've been at the table negotiating, structuring, coming up with ideas on how government will manage this. And for government to really throw one in our face as it did was totally unacceptable. We had engagements yesterday following our indicated picketing, and government took some steps, and we must recognize the effort made by government. On the back of that, and also in pursuit of social stability and peace, we have opted to take a step down on our picketing. What we wanted were the monies. The funds have so far been executed per the statement that was made. We can confirm receipt of a number of the payments that have been listed out there. Our independent checks have also confirmed that the others have been duly processed, and that gives us adequate comfort. The commitment by government to honor its obligations on the MOU has also been restated. This gives us enough comfort for now. But this is a suspension, and government and everybody should be minded. Our patience and our cooperation should not be taken for granted. These are lives at stake. These are not people who just represent the statistics on the books of operatives in the Ministry of Finance.
All right, so Senor Jose is the convener for the Coalition of Individual Bondholders group, and he's been telling us about why they've decided to suspend their planned protest. Senor, if you're back, tell me about your group's scheduled press conference. When is that happening?
Oh, Aisha, if you can hear me, someone can.
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead, Senor.
Sorry, Aisha, I can't hear. Just a minute, Aisha. Let me see if this.
Right, there's a bit of connection problem. We'll try and get Senor back, but Senor has been telling me the reason why they decided to suspend the thing. So we'll also be finding out when, because I know there are still issues that needs to be addressed aside the payment from now to June. Senor, can you hear me now?
Hello, guys. I can hear you. If
right. So
I can hear you loud and clear, Aisha.
We are learning that there's a press conference scheduled by your group. When is this press conference and what's the agenda?
We would advise the schedule soon. It definitely won't be today. We expect a few more accounts to be credited, and then we'll actually take a position on it. Last night was a very heavy night. All of us had to stay awake trying to get negotiations finalized. And I want to take this opportunity to commend the IGP of police and his entire senior police team for their support and cooperation yesterday. He was active facilitating and coordinating a peaceful resolution of all the issues that we had, and also keeping his men on side. We've had meetings with him this morning and his entire team. We want to say a big thank you to the Ghana Police Service. The professionalism and the cooperation is exactly what we expect of modern policing going forward. They are actually reaching the bar as far as public service is concerned. IGP Dampari, we congratulate you and we say a big thank you to you. So having said that, yes,
go ahead.
We've also been on site to make sure those who may not have heard that we have suspended the picketing will be well informed and we do not get them stranded on site. So we've also been to the ministry to also coordinate that, and I think that everything is really pretty easy and cool now. We will have this press conference, toward the end of the week, to give full update on exact member experiences as far as the payments are concerned, and also shape or put forward our exact plan and commitment to the cooperation with the Ministry of Finance going forward.
So you can actually confirm that the accounts of your members, most of them have received their payments, correct?
There are lists of payments that have been made. Some of them have fully been confirmed. Others, some banks have also received and are yet to actually credit their customer accounts. There are others that have had instructions sent, and we have confirmed all those instructions along the chain. So some of them may actually crystallize by close of day. Others may take another day, which may be tomorrow. By Thursday, we expect that everybody should have their accounts for the payments that have been executed.
We understand that this payment is arrears due up till June. So what's the plan for subsequent?
Just a correction. A part of it is up to those that have been executed are those up to June, and we also have July payments also instructed.
Okay.
And we've confirmed that independently.
Okay.
But the instructions must now culminate into actual account crediting. And that's why we want to give it a bit of time before we have our press conference.
All right. So Senor Jose is the convener for the coalition of individual bondholders group who were supposed to picket this morning but cancelled it. I'm grateful for your time, Senor, but you heard him say that they've also instructed July. But I just want you to take us through the agreement between them and government, which actually resulted in this. How was the payment plan supposed to be?
Okay, so Aisha, so part of the payment plan was supposed to clear the principals and the coupons that were due earlier. Another part of the plan was to convert some of the principals into treasury bills. Okay. And so we do not know clearly whether the principals that will be maturing from July to maybe end of year or till when it ends are the ones going to be converted into treasury bills. And so those are some of the clarifications I'm sure the press statement should be addressing, because that was part of the agreement. And so we'll be needing clarification on all of that. All things being equal, I'm sure that they are satisfied with the roadmap so far, especially when he says that they have confirmed some of the things independently. And so, so as he says, the ones up to June have been cleared. From June ending to July 19 is what they have instructed. We would wait and see what happens to that as well. And so that, and then the conversion to treasury bill. is
it's
what
something
needs
that
some
we'll
more
be looking forward to. Definitely, this is a very sensitive matter that we're all interested in. We'll be watching and monitoring with keen eyes. Definitely, we'll be bringing viewers updates. Now, the Member of Parliament for Ho Central, Benjamin Podo, has visited and commiserated with constituents affected by Saturday's flood in the Volta regional capital of Ho. He promised to collaborate with the Assembly to provide solutions to the identified causes of the perennial floods in the area. More in this report.
Residents in Ho experienced the biggest flood in about a decade during a 3-hour rains on Saturday. The areas affected were Bankwe, Akpenamau, Ajimakope, Polyclinic, Medical Village, Powerhouse and Donokoji, among others. The flood destroyed and washed away goods after making its way into shops at Bankwe Civic Center, the central business district of Ho. A textile dealer said she lost products worth billions of Ghana cedis.
Tamila sito trodo aka koya mi gale tuge na Yesu kele kwa mi atugodo pedan to kwere mi mi love pete avoyo ke mi te npo a amedo egbe kra medo ga kode o cover amedo ko ebe yo ma cover amedo le cover Tamila gbagbaje pedan to so le vava le oyan na mi kode o ko ide landry hoyo benu nyape o aha ta Mila gbagbaje mi akpora be e ka anyo no hia mi akọ edo akọche no hia e ka omi ati won po gadon ajira enu ehe gbele yan maton cost yo Mila gbagbaje mi akpora ga keme no wogboron die me there is billions of cedis because agba Ghana cedi meye gavio agba no koma me a wholesale cry, time to get video of my uniform. And no pay as a home, especially printers. Uniform, and Neso.
The Member of Parliament for Ho Central, Benjamin Podo, visited her and other victims. He assured of working with the National Disaster Management Organization to lend its support to the victims.
This thing that has happened is completely unusual. It's unusual. For more than 10 years, we've not had this level of heavy downpour to cause such disaster. So we need to get it right when we are going to correct it. So we'll start with the Assembly, see how we can raise funds to correct or to expand some of the bridges, some of the gutters, so that we can create waterway. First of all, there is the need to desilt the existing drains that we have. So when that is done, then we can expect that more money will be found later on to do expansion and reconstruction of the drains. NADMO is responsible for disaster management. So from here, I'm seeing the MCE. We have to impress upon NADMO to assist the victims of this unfortunate disaster.
It is the prayers of residents in Ho that authorities would rectify the identified causes of the perennial floods to ensure the safety of life and property. Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News, Ho.
Let's stay a while longer on the issue of floods, particularly because it's become a global challenge now with very devastating incidents in parts of Europe and America. CNN, for instance, in the last few days have been reporting an ending havoc that has wreaked scores of deaths and loss of property in New York. Well, the latest case being recorded in Volta region really comes as a surprise to many because that part of the country is not known to be prone to flooding. So what's really accounting for the global and regional problem? Dr. Emmanuel Tichiobing is Acting Director of the Climate Change Unit at the Environmental Protection Agency. So Obing, I'm grateful for your time. You are a climate change expert. How would you explain the global and local scenario as far as flooding is concerned, beyond the challenge of building on waterways and choked drains?
Yeah, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak on the flood that is currently happening in our country. Actually, it is not in our country alone. It's global. It is changes that are happening in the climate, which is actually affecting or causing this flood. Currently, what is happening is that there is something we call climate change. Changes in rainfall patterns and changes in temperature. The temperature has increased, a phenomenon we call the global warming. And this global warming has affected rainfall patterns. If you say it has affected rainfall patterns, what we mean here is the atmosphere is warm now because of some of our activities that we are doing, emissions that we send to the atmosphere over the years. So the atmosphere is warm. And you know rainfall comes as a result of air masses going into the atmosphere and condense, cool, and fall as rain. And because the atmosphere is warm, the rain doesn't come as it used to be. In Ghana, what we know is in March, the rainfall starts in southern Ghana, continues up to June, and then it declines as we go towards the end of the year. But currently, it is not like that. The global warming has affected the patterns of the rainfall in our country and globally. And it is now difficult even to know when the next rains are coming. And one significant thing which has resulted into the flood is what we call in climate change extreme events. Because the rain condense in its not normal way, the rain can come very heavy. We call it extreme event, short or heavy, long. And as you mentioned, if the rain comes heavy for a long time or heavy for a short time, coupled with our human issues, that is spoken of floods and other things, then it results in floods, because the rains that are coming heavily because of changes in the rainfall patterns have nowhere to go. The drains have been choked, and what they can do is to come back into our homes. So this is the major cause. The rainfall patterns that have changed due to climate change have really resulted to extreme climate events, which rainfall comes heavily, long time or heavily short time, where rain has nowhere to go in areas where the drainage is not good, or sometimes where the rain even has to store. Formally we have wetlands where rain has to store and relax, and then after the rain is released into the sea. Currently, all those places have been taken over by buildings. So climate change has changed the rainfall amount that comes into the land. So this is what has resulted to the flood. So that is one factor, especially to the inland. But when we come to the coastline has two factors which is causing the flood. One, the extreme events which I have already explained. And secondly, sea level rise. It is also this sea level rise is also due to climate change. Due to climate change, the atmosphere has become warm, and the other way around is affecting rainfall patterns. But on the other way, in the temperate zone, it's actually melting the ice on the Kilimanjaro, melting the ice on the Arctic Ocean, melting the ice in both the poles. So all this ice which are melting comes into the sea. And when they come into the sea level rises, and that also results to floods onto the land in the form of coastal erosion, or especially when it comes to Ghana, the east coast is 20 meters below sea level. So now that the sea level is increasing and the land is already lower than the sea level, then floods become abound. So these are the two major reasons due to climate change, which is actually resulting to the frequent floods which we are having now.
Well, there's been several conversations and conferences, about this, and with, resolutions adopted to actually deal with some of these changes in climate. Why aren't we seeing results?
Yes. This issue has been there over the years. Carbon dioxide that has been accumulated in the atmosphere has been over 100 years. And what I am a Christian, what was creation, we're having about 280 parts per million. Currently, it has been doubled. So the carbon dioxide, which is causing the warming in the atmosphere, has doubled. And the carbon dioxide are molecules which each of them takes 40 years to decay. So what has been sent into the atmosphere, it will take the next century, even if we don't put any more emissions to the atmosphere, it will take hundreds of years for the carbon dioxide, which is put, or the greenhouse gases, it's not carbon dioxide, it's greenhouse gases in the atmosphere to decay. And this will actually make this situation we find ourselves persist, though we are doing policies to actually reduce the impact. But what is in the atmosphere is so huge that it will take decades, it will take years for the events of climate change to actually decline.
Well, so in the interim, with your outfits, how do we deal with some of these challenges in the interim as we wait for all these resolutions to manifest?
Yes, in the interim, specifically to climate change, one of the things that can help to reduce the rainfall and the amount of rain that comes is causing this, is to reduce the rainfall coming from the atmosphere. And we can do that but by creating micro-environment. You see, the atmosphere is warm already, warm globally, everywhere is warm. So if you are saying that we want the rainfall in Ghana to become as it used to be, then the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere will be there. But we can change the climate in Ghana or the microclimate in your home or in your community. Rain can fall within your community and the rain will not fall within other communities. If the rainfall pattern or the changes in rainfall in that, or the changes, the conditions, the warming in that area is minimized. And like I'm saying, we can minimize the warming within your community, though the global warming is there, by actually creating micro-environment within your area. And one thing we can do, one major thing we can do, is to plant more trees. Because if we have a lot of trees within a given area, it changes the rainfall within that given area, and rainfall will not be extreme, will not be so huge within a short time or so heavy within a short time, which will cause the flood. Even though you have the environment soak, the rain that will come normal. So the air masses will move normally and move up and condense just because the condition within that area is good. So if we can change the conditions within that area, what we need to do is to make sure that we plant more trees to reduce the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. The function of trees is that it takes out the greenhouse gases from the atmosphere. And if the greenhouse gases from the atmosphere is reduced, it will go a long way to reduce the changes in climate within that area and actually affect the floods, among other things, within that area. So that is just one of them. But there are other factors that can result in reducing the rainfall pattern within the area.
Dr. Emmanuel Teacher, I'm grateful for your time. He is the Acting Director of the Climate Change Unit at the Environmental Protection Agency. And he says that we need to do a lot more. including controlling the rain patterns as a way of reducing some of the impacts of the change in climate. And to other stories, imagine 362 pupils having to use only 62 classroom dual desk. That was the situation at the Zwarungu Primary School in the Bolgatanga East District of the Upper East Region, a situation which resulted in the poor academic performance of the children and the dwindling population of the school. Help has, however, arrived with the Silas Samoa Foundation donating 60 dual desks to the Zwarungu Primary School to help reduce the furniture deficit in that school. Correspondent Albert Sori has more.
This is how pupils of the Zwarungu Primary School, some of Ghana's future leaders, sit to take classroom instructions from their teachers on the bare, cold cement floors of their classrooms. It is the same when their lunch is served by their school feeding caterer. They eat sitting on the bare floors. These are the junior classes of the school, primary 1, 2, and 3, the stages of basic school where grasping the fundamentals for the rest of their education is crucial. But without the furniture, it is extremely difficult to concentrate, let alone take down lesson notes. There are nearly 400 pupils in this school and only 62 dual desks. School authorities were therefore compelled to give those desks to the pupils in the senior classes. But even for them, the desks are not enough.
Sometimes we usually sit down and learn, and it was making learning difficult for some of us. Sometimes we only sit on the floor during examinations to write, and it was making learning very difficult.
It was very difficult for us to study because we didn't have furniture in our school, especially during examination. We had to pay to write, but our teachers didn't allow us because they thought we would cope. So it was a very hectic one.
The Silas Samoa Foundation has, however, come to the aid of the Zwarungu Primary School by donating 60 dual desks to them. The charity organization, founded by young politician and businessman Matthew Silas Samoa, also donated 5 desktop computers for the school's ICT lab and 10 boxes of street lamps to aid the children study at night.
It's not proper at this age that children lie on their tummy to write. It's not right. We decided to make these donations for them. We gave them poles for their football fields. I'll bring 2 sets of jersey for them, and they also requested that in the night, it's very dark out here. You know, sometimes students who live around do come here to study at night, so we also pledged that we'll get them 10 boxes of street lights so that to lighten up the place during the night. The school has produced so many great men in society. So it's just left with we, the individuals, to come on deck to relax some little amenities. And Ghana Education Service, government alone cannot, take the whole responsibility. So individuals, NGOs, politicians like myself, we can come to their aid. So I think once we get the needed support for them, it should be one of the best schools in the region.
Headmistress of the Zwarungu Primary School, Selina Baba, said the donation from the Silas Samoa Foundation had come at the right time.
It has been a long time since they have given us furniture supply. We have waited and waited, we never had some. We have a population about 362 at the moment, but the good desks that we have in the classroom, they are just about 62 when you count. Most of the times the teachers bring in their laptops, just one, to the classroom to teach and demonstrate. And you know, one computer alone in a class of 50, it will not work. He only stands in front there, explains, and let them come one after the other to look at it. And this consumes the time of the learners. So these 5 computers donated to us, it will help our children a lot. Really, the number of furniture that has been supplied today, we are very grateful for the donor. But the fact is that it will not still be enough. We still need more. But it will help. It will help us solve the problem a little.
Reporting for Joy News, Albert Sori, Zuarungu.
Mennonite Economic Development Associates MEDA has launched the Phase 2 of its Greater Rural Opportunities for Women Grow 2 project in the northern region. The 5-year project, funded by Global Affairs Canada, is to help improve economic and social empowerment for smallholder women farmers, entrepreneurs and agribusinesses in the northern, Savannah and Upper West regions of Ghana. The project is targeted at 40,000 women farmers, 5,000 entrepreneurs and 50 agribusinesses led by women in the soybean and garnet value chain.
The launch brought together women farmers, agribusinesses, financial institutions, among other stakeholders, to officially outdoor the program. The 5-year project, when completed, is expected to not just transform the lives of women, but also sustain their sources of income. Speaking at the event, the Northern Regional Minister, Shani Alhassan Shaibu, said he was excited that the project was going to address challenges women face in the agriculture sector.
Contribution to the GDP in recent years. The northern, Savannah and Upper West regions heavily rely on agriculture as a source of livelihood and for the majority of the population in this area, particularly women farmers. Unfortunately, these women face numerous challenges, including limited access to productive inputs, credits, inadequate infrastructure, and underdeveloped markets, and cultural barriers that restrict their decision-making power and access to critical resources. I am informed that the Grow 2 project aims to address these systemic challenges and uplift the lives of women farmers in these regions by focusing on the groundnut and soybean value chain, which have a very high successful concentration of women involved from production to the processing.
The Deputy Director, Ghana Development Program at the High Commission of Canada, Louise Paris, on her part, said government's support in the agricultural sector is in line with their international assistance policy.
So Canada's support to the agriculture sector of Ghana is in line with our feminist international assistance policy and the UN Sustainable Development Goals, particularly goal number 5 on gender equality. Just a side spontaneous note here, I don't think that women are the only ones who can multitask. And I think that in French we say le sexe fort. I don't know if in English you say the strong sex, but this idea the males are the strong ones. I would say that the strong sex is the one on which we put so much burden and that can carry it. So let's hope that men are good sex and they can take a big burden. Okay, so through our partnership with the government of Ghana and organizations like MEDA, we are witnessing increased empowerment and self-reliance among women in the agricultural sector.
MEDA Regional Director of the West Africa, Middle East and North Africa, Dr. Pierre Cadet, said the project will help create a lasting change and the overall economic development of the 3 regions.
Building upon these successful endeavors, MEDA is now embarking on Grow 2 journey and ambitious project aimed at further benefiting 40,000 smallholder women farmers, entrepreneurs, and agribusinesses through increased agricultural productivity, improved business environment, and increased gender equality in families, communities, and selected value chains.
Let's take a break on Joy News Desk. When we return, there's more coming from business.
Good morning, welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Ghana is seeking to account for biodiversity losses, climate change-related costs, and other environmental factors in its conventional gross domestic product estimation. The current standard GDP does not account for whether the level of income created in the country is sustainable or not, which is where the concept of green GDP comes in. An assistant chief statistician at the Ghana Statistical Service, Dr. Benesewa Ofosu-Bedu, says it is time the country intensifies efforts at compiling a system of environmental economic accounts with the aim to integrate environmental statistics into economic accounting. Here's more in this report.
Green gross domestic product takes into account the cost of environmental degradation and climate events. This allows the cost of natural resource depletion and environmental degradation to be subtracted from gross domestic product. Speaking on the sidelines of a national sensitization forum on green GDP organized in Koforidua in the Eastern region, Dr. Ofosu-Bedu says the move will help provide detailed statistics for better management of natural resources that contribute to the economic development of the country.
Environmentally adjusted GDP. That is to say, GDP is compiled on annual basis as well as quarterly basis. So before you can arrive at or estimate green GDP, you need to take away all the environmental losses, the environmental degradation, depletion, among others. But not just that, just negating the environmental losses and the degradation, the depletion. It comes with the compilation of a lot of what we call SIA accounts or natural capital accounting. SIA is the system of environmental economic accounting, which has been adopted by the UN, and it is mandatory for all countries to start compiling it.
The forum, organized by the Ghana Statistical Services with support from the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, brought together stakeholders from the Regional Statistical Services, Environmental Protection Agency, agriculture officers, CSOs, among others. Principal Environmental Officer with the Environmental Protection Agency, Kwame Boachi-Fredua, says the forum will help expand the understanding of the concept of the green GDP with these stakeholders to enable them internalize it in their activities.
It's essential that we do this because generating national macroeconomic indicators is not something that one institution does. If you talk to Ghana Statistical Service, through their system or setup, they'll tell you how even data is collected, analyzed, and all of that requires that there is that multi-faceted approach in terms of stakeholders and all of that. So today it's just to bring them up to speed. One of the things too that we shared today was to try to get that buy-in from their perspective so they can internalize what we've shared with them in their work, because there's no use collecting data and providing an analysis if that data just sits in a report and is put somewhere.
On the spot, a climate change expert with the Food and Agriculture Organization, Matthias Edeto, stated that Ghana, like many other economies worldwide, have shown progress in a resolve to build capacity to implement the system of environmental and economic accounting to better manage its economy. Kofi Sian reporting for Joy News, Koforidua.
Now, Anglo-Gold Ashanti Obuasi Mine has handed over a 20-seater washroom facility to Enyim Edukrom community in the Ashanti region to lessen the negative impact of poor environmental sanitation. The project is part of the company's 10-year social development plan of improving the livelihoods of host communities. There's more in this report.
The 630,000 cedis facility, which will serve over 4,000 beneficiaries, is to help mitigate open defecation in the New Medukum community. According to Senior Manager Sustainability at Anglo Gold Ashanti, environmental stewardship is critical to the gold mine, hence the move. Emmanuel Baidu urged the community to foster good maintenance culture to sustain the facility.
One of the key areas of the 10-year socio-economic development plan is to contribute to improving sanitation and hygiene. Anyumedukrom is one of our communities. We, through the initial consultations, what led to the development of the 10-year plan, established the dire need of a public sanitary facility in the community. So working closely with the Obuasi East District Assembly and the leadership of the community, we realized it was really a priority for the community to have such a project.
The community facility was constructed some few meters from the Kwabrafusu cluster of schools to also serve students. Assembly member Yakubu Lamin revealed the community was in dire need of a toilet facility. He commended AGA for addressing and improving sanitation in the area.
Formerly, we had one which is not good, and then it was pulled down. So the school community was with no toilet facility. So we approached AGA, and then we told them we would need one of these facilities in Anyumedukrom, which they heeded to our appeal. So they came and then did it for us. It will serve the community and the school. And it will serve because the students, we have about 3,000 plus students in this particular school. And then the community too, we have some small catchment area which is very close to the toilet facility. They will use the facility as their toilet facility.
The assembly member promised to set up a committee to ensure the facility is properly maintained.
Since AGA did it and they used 6.3 billion for old currency and then 630,000 Ghana cedis, if it's an individual who did it, it means that he has to recuperate his money back. So doing this is not easy. So we'll form a committee to look at it for us. So we will comprising the assembly, the Nananom, and the unit committee and the assembly member to have a good so that they can repair and then maintain the facility.
Anita Sewa Ajugan reporting.
And that's it for this segment. The news continues after this break.
Welcome back to Joy News Desk to the rest of our stories. And the decision to deliver a baby through Caesarean section or opt for a vaginal delivery is a choice that people, expectant mothers make. While vaginal delivery is natural and most common method of childbirth, an increasing number of women are opting for Caesarean section. My colleague Karen Obing explores some of the reasons individuals choose Caesarean sections over vaginal delivery.
A baby is delivered through Caesarean section. The mother is relieved. She had endured long hours of labor, and finally, the doctor decided to remove the baby surgically. A gynecologist at the Rich Hospital, Dr. Richard Apiankroma, explains why many women are choosing Caesarean section over vaginal delivery.
Technology has made CS, to be very frank, very, very simple. But it is not as simple as it is, because just like any other surgery, it has complications. So we counsel them thoroughly. We let them know that these are the risks involved, and we assess them, and then we let them know that, Madam A, I think, or we think that you are fit for a vaginal delivery. But we also let them know that if you do need a CS with monitoring, we will just go in quickly. The key thing is when you counsel them and then such patients, you just need to monitor them closely. It's a close monitoring that we need to prevent unnecessary CS. Some of them just need close monitoring and they'll deliver beautifully. That is what we need in Ghana. And monitoring goes with staff and equipment and so many things, and that's what we are lacking. So people don't want to go through that stress of when you go to this place, they don't have so many money. So doctor, just do CS for me and then let me be free, and then people to go. You can do it in less than an hour. It depends also on the condition. For example, if a patient comes with a fetal distress, where a baby is literally dying, you have to go in, you have to be very fast. So you can do that surgery within 30 minutes, but averagely I would just say like an hour.
The full story will be aired on midday, make a date. And that's how we wrap up Jury News. That's this morning. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Log on to myjournline.com. There's more of the news and updates of all the developing stories. See you again at 12.